And you never want to get into a three-way tie, because if you are the team that gets out, you're out. You know, they made it so far, they look so dominant, but then if MusTang comes out of nowhere, well, I wouldn't say nowhere. They're using their, like, original composition with Zarks in the lane on Scarf. They got that Koshka work on Wong. Once again, they're looking so fantastic, and I think they could take the 2-0 after watching that game.
They absolutely could. But I feel like one of the mistakes that we saw from CNL was actually to ban Sky themselves. I think actually ban someone else, you know, maybe even ban Koshka
Scarf.
or ban Scarf and play Sky. Because Ken, I think, is the best Sky, possibly, you know,
Yeah,
rivaling Godfather,
Sky.
like one of the best Skies in China. So, and we can rewatch this replay and kind of go through what went wrong in this game, but it was basically just MusTang playing safer than they ever have, getting early advantages, and when they have an advantage, they just get further ahead rather than doing the Chinese let's throw kind of mentality.
The Chinese strat, yeah. Throw it all away.
It's an ancient Chinese secret that has been revealed now. We've got basically, it's time to
get rid of all your fears, you know, and dive the turret. That's what you got to do.
So, you know, we just saw some bad engages out of CNL.
Yeah, not the best teamwork overall. Not what we're used to seeing out of this team.
And I think Ken really struggled to deal with Zarks. You know, he's not showing us the best Scarf. Oh, this is the big engagement that's like, big no, do not do this. Is, oh, we dropped down our gauntlet and we used Scarf's ult, but we're just gonna fight anyways. That was a huge mistake, a huge blunder.
Yeah,
and that was like.
They learned about it a little bit later, where they did something similar. You know, gauntlet misses, they go for the ult, but then they're just like, okay, let's back off.
I mean, that's just like, I mean, a mechanical error to accidentally gauntlet. We have seen it before, actually, several times today. This is one of the most important things, and it's so important to actually hit that. So you always want to have that selected before a big fight. But as a mechanical error and then a decision-making error that happened right afterwards. And that's the kind of thing that's uncharacteristic of CNL and why I don't think we're going to see it next game. But I feel like Ken, compared to Zarks is the better Scarf, massively.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's time to pick a different laning hero. If they ban Celeste again, if we see MusTang ban Celeste, I'd like to see a Scarf ban instead from CNL. Sorry, spacing out for a second there.
Well, we begin to see more and more of these fights where things don't go quite well. This is the one fight where we're like, hey, CNL, they actually have a chance here. Both the Scarfs go down, which, you know, may be the reason why this turned out well. But off the back of this, you know, they do eventually kill Wong, but they can't get much going after this, you know. Wong goes down, and then eventually Leo goes back, and then Lolly takes like 2 minions in the jungle, and that was about it.
This is the last fight here, where they attempted to hide the Zark's checks, and then they wipe. Rona is not able to do enough lifesteal, and that's the end of the story. So we're going to go into game 2 pretty shortly after that little replay that we had. We're going to go into the bans really soon, and I'm hoping to see something different. I'm hoping to see a Scarf ban instead of a Sky ban, or even a Koshka ban, or maybe not Arden. That would be fun.
Yeah, no Arden would be like, well, this is a totally
like
different
an Arden
game
ban,
that we're playing here, guys.
Arden ban, it's like, well, we're
no
better
more
than them.
gauntlets.
We could change. If we ban Arden, what are they going to do? We've practiced. They didn't. I mean, I don't think that's actually the case.
Yeah, I think everybody's pretty much only practicing Arden, maybe some Catherine at
We
this
have
point in time.
Only TVT didn't pick Arden. Every other game that we had, the entire tournament has had 2 Ardens, and TVT was already out of the tournament, so it would stand to reason why they did that, just for fun. But anyway, just looking at our Chinese side of things, it looks like we're kind of ramping into that pick and ban as everyone gets into the lobby. I see both teams are discussing quite heavily what they want to do. And I think if I'm CNL here, definitely want to ban Scarf and not Sky. Ken is an incredible Sky.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why they banned Sky, to be honest. I mean, I suppose that Zarks is also a good Sky player.
Is
These
that
guys
listed in his?
No, but I mean, those guys definitely have more experience playing them on the ladder and scrims, stuff like this, before the tournament, and maybe they know. They're like, okay, we can't do this. You know, Ken, you're good, but Sharks, No, he's number one Sky.
They ban Koshka instead, which is the other, sort of topic I was putting into this. Ken is going Sky, Zarks is going Sky, no Scarfs, and we're gonna see Lolly on Fortress. And Wang is going for Glaive. I feel like this is gonna be the highest level match of what we've seen so far in Group B, and this is the most important. A win here for MusTang would give them an opportunity in a three-way tie. A win for Codename L will secure their spot. So it's basically a win here for CNL, just gets them out of that tiebreaker situation. But even if MusTang wins, they're not necessarily going to have that spot secured. They still have to win in their tiebreaker.
Yeah, it's very true, but they want to keep their hopes alive as much as possible, shooting for that win. And that was actually the first game that CNL lost the entire tournament. Not used to seeing them lose like that in that fashion, but I guess their overconfident ways and their Chinese strats just came back to bite them, Wolf.
Your overconfidence is your weakness. Yeah. Something like that, right?
I suppose.
Somebody said that once, I don't know who it was, but
Yeah, I think it was Confucius himself.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, also, I just want to point out, we talked about this briefly already, but, hold that thought. Big fight here. Wong gets taken out.
Very early gank.
Free kill, basically.
Yeah, Lolly, the only level 2 person here, and that is one thing you can do with Fortress. Very strong level 2 jungler, just to jump immediately onto that laner. Try to do a lot of damage. Ken does have to be careful here, though. Coming from behind is Zarks and Susu.
He's staying on his side of the Vein Sword, though. Look at how far away he's going. He's like, nah. Not even a chance I'm going to take that damage.
Yeah, so very nicely done. Good rotations. And CNL is going to get the very slight early lead here.
So, just looking at that square pad again on the left side.
Square pad. The square iPad.
The square iPad, man, the square pad.
The I square.
I square.
Yeah.
So, I have to give more credit again to Ken for his incredible Sky that we saw him yesterday. He dueled against, why am I forgetting the name? The guy's ID
Queller?
starts with a P. Queller. He dueled against Queller and showed that his Sky is superior. And Queller is an incredible lane player. Really, really impressed by him today. So, you take a look at that, and I think when we have the Sky mirror, Zarks hasn't even shown his Sky today, which leads me to believe it's not his favorite hero. He is much more comfortable on Scarf. So I like this position for CNL.
Yeah, it's interesting that they picked Sky, though, when Sky was not banned.
We do have Ken. Okay, he does escape, and he's actually going to put off a lot of damage. Here comes Lolly, if Wong gets too close. Okay, notice that Susu zones very carefully, just to make sure nothing terrible is going to happen.
Placing Scout Trap 2s, trying to zone him out, as you were saying. Both teams going to go back into the jungle, just farm up a bit. But yeah, interesting that he picks Sky instead of Scarf, even though Scarf is open. Definitely valuing that Sky pick very highly. I think a lot of teams here are doing that in this tournament.
I'm trying to think back to MusTang's game when he picked Scarf twice. I think in one of the games Sky was banned, but in the other one she was not. So maybe one of the reasons why we saw Scarf out of Zark so consistently was because of those bans. That could be something else that we're kind of missing. Again, we're very new to these teams. These teams are also very new teams, so we don't know these teams perfectly just yet. And we're just trying to go off of the information that we have so far.
Well, there is a Scout Trap very near to Susu and Zark, so I'm not sure if that's in the bush. Doesn't look like it is. They're going to face check that.
And they are. Susu is taking a ton of damage, and she survives over Ken, though, and will actually make it through this entire fight. Looks like, nope, just barely Leo's going to get the kill, but it is going to be an ace at 4 minutes. So MusTang getting that ace allowed them to push down the turrets, and or rather not, they're not going to push down the turret, but significantly damage that turret.
Yeah, this is a big advantage for MusTang for sure. I'm not really sure what CNL was thinking, trying to force that one after MusTang got the jump on them. seems like a bit of nerves are playing into their play as well. I know that they also didn't know the exact location of Wong, I believe it was, who, afterburned out of the bush, and then all of a sudden there's no escaping from that glaive. So I do understand that, but just in general, not taking fights on their own terms. They're kind of just playing straight into MusTang's hands.
Yeah. Just want to look at the farm. Ken currently at 43 to Zarks' 30. So even though he's got a death, he's staying significantly ahead in farm, which is important because I think Ken is going to be the savior of CNL if they can try not to take too much damage here in the early game. It's still a fairly even game. In fact, pretty even in gold, only 1,000 ahead here for MusTang.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one ace isn't going to win you the game, of course.
Especially not at like 4 minutes.
Yeah. It's, it's not going to do much in terms of death timers. You're not going to, all they got was some chip damage on that turret, the first one in the lane. So, overall, CNL is definitely not out of this. They, still looking strong. Don't look like they're ready to make any other mistakes. Look like they're playing actually much safer after that. But, oh boy, look at this. No vision of the gold mine, and that's going to be given up to MusTang.
Yeah. That's pretty huge. They actually just let that go casually. Obviously, Ken furthers his CS lead as a result. Also, something to point out is how much CS Wong has, who's actually kind of lane swapped with Zarks. I didn't even quite realize this immediately, but they basically lane swapped. That's a term we use in other MOBAs when people will switch roles. But Wong has been staying in the lane and getting most of the farm, whereas Zarks has been accompanying Susu around the jungle, which means that now both Zarks and Wong have level 6, similar to how Loli and Ken both have level 6, but they did a little bit of a role swap, and sometimes Glaive is better in the lane during certain phases, so I kind of get that. Than he is in the jungle. Susu taking a ton of damage here from Ken, though, before this next fight occurs. Yeah. So I was just going to say, that's part of the reason why Zarks was down on farm in that direct comparison I was making, was because he simply just was not in lane.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting that they do go for that swap. Just feeling like, I guess, Zarks did get ganked pretty heavily that one time. Maybe they were just like, okay, we should switch this up. Glaive is going to be a bit more safe in that lane, I suppose.
I don't like, actually, this fight for CNL. I think this is really risky. Ken is coming in, though, and is going to drop down his ult in just a second here. Leo taking a ton of damage and is actually going to get caught back here by Wong. Wong misses the afterburn knockback, but it's not going to matter. Ken's ult is way too late to be impactful. He's actually going to get trapped here in the gauntlet, which wasn't even necessary. We have a second ace, and MusTang is going to take this regen. Will easily be able to take the minion mine if they choose to. It actually looks like they might leave it, and they're going to be able to push down the turret as well. They're going to leave the minion mine down.
That makes a lot of sense. One of the big comeback mechanics you can have is if minion mines are taken, you can get more gold in that lane. So they're going to leave that, take the turret instead, get further and further ahead. They have so many scout traps around this area over here. I think they could do a better job of clearing some on the left side and also placing some more on the left side. But other than that, they have gotten so much more gold, and they've gotten a big lead in terms of that. Look at this. CNL, well, it looks like they do have some vision of them, so they do back off immediately. I thought they could have gotten ganked from behind.
Yeah, Susu is actually, he showed already in the previous series that she is incredible at placing scout traps. In this particular game, definitely not as diligent about it, but incredible vision control. And the 3,000 gold lead that you see is not because it's 6-2, it's because every time they take a fight, it's been an ace, with the exception of the early kills.
They're really taking the fights.
And they're grabbing objectives right afterwards. They're clearing the jungle, clearing the turret, clearing the lane, back to the jungle. And while they're rotating around, if they fight, they win, and they do it over and over again. It's like a systematic, careful play.
And after all, it seems like the Koshka ban, I suppose, is not the best one, because Wong has been having a pretty fantastic game on that glaive. He actually has 4 kills of the 6, and he is always on top of them. He got such an early Sorrow Blade. He does so much damage already.
Part of that comes from the lane swap as well. All right, big Ken ult here. Great dodge, though, by MusTang, taking very little damage. Now 63 seconds to go. Before Ken overdrives Sky's ult, it takes so long to recharge that basically every time he misses like this, it's another opportunity for MusTang. So that's one of the big things they're scared about. They're not scared about Fortress's ult at all. They're scared about the Gauntlet and Ken's ult. The Gauntlet is still available, and they're going to use it defensively here to try to save Lolly. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Saved a little bit for now, but it's just not enough. Down goes Lolly. And even with Ken backing up here, dropping down that beat for some extra damage, it's not enough. And MusTang is just going to disengage, take the lane, take the objectives. They're about to get another immense gold payout from the gold mine as well.
Yeah, MusTang really knowing how to continue with their lead, even using just the gauntlet on one member to say, like, we can just kill one, we could kill Fortress and get this much damage done to a turret. It is definitely worth it to use the gauntlet at that point in time. You could see what happened to Fortress after he got gauntleted in. Of course, he does not have the reflex block just yet. He rushed out a Fountain of Renewal instead. So he essentially just ran around in a circle. I was watching this. He ran around in a circle. Then he eventually got out. He got a little bit of lifesteal from his jump. That was about it. And then he used his ult and died instantly. But he did 0 damage. It was kind of pathetic to watch. And just a very smart move after all by MusTang to engage like that.
Yep. 4,000 gold lead with that new immense gold payout. And they're giving most of the farm actually to Wong. They're letting Zarks just kind of roam around. And he's not got as much gold as Ken has because Ken's been staying in the lane.
Yeah,
but it begs the question, is there a better response to this lane swap than what we've seen so far? Because I'm really not sure.
I don't know. There's not really a way that you're going to be able to kill Wong without, like, massive stuns. You can just afterburn away. I think really all you can do is try to bait it out. Bait the afterburn the opposite way, bait a bad engage. But it looks like they're in a pretty good position to engage well here, MusTang.
Leo's ult is ready. Same is true, of course, of Zarks, but I want to focus on Ken. Because let's see if he can actually get the damage off. Oh, his position is bad here, and he's dueling against Zark. Does escape from that gauntlet, but not going to escape from that afterburn. Here comes the ult from Zarks, doing a ton of damage. Leo trying to hang on there. Zark stays alive to actually get some of that lifesteal from that minion. And Wong has to afterburn away.
Look at Lolly
Lolly's
go.
going. This is going to be a much better engage. Unfortunately, he doesn't have that ult anymore. It's already used. Here comes Ken, though. Are they going to stay too long? Leo trying to survive, runs past the turret here. And here comes Ken. Going to go ahead and chase. It's just not enough. They don't have any chase. They don't have a horn or anything like that, and they're not going to be able to follow up.
Yeah, it's too early on in the game, just not enough items, and Lolly playing pretty passively here, and it's understandable. They don't want to go into a tiebreaker. They want that easy sail on into first place, right? So they're playing this very, very safe, which I do admire, and they just have to sit back and wait. I suppose they cannot make any more mistakes by this point in the game. And we do finally have that breaking point picked up by Lolly on that Fortress. That's going to be very nice. But the same can be said about Wong on the other side, who is obviously ahead in farm.
Let's see how this push works out for MusTang. Let's see if they can actually push down this turret. They're getting so far ahead in farm in every way. Still, like, remember last time I said they're giving most of the farm to Wong? At that point, it was 110, or maybe like 100 or so to 80. Zark's has gotten 2 CS since then, so it's basically just he's giving everything to Wong. He wants Wong to be the powerhouse, he wants Wong to be the damage dealer. And that's interesting considering how they're trying to siege, because I feel like we'd better to give it to Sky in the siege.
I think really all that Sky needs to be successful is a Frostburn and a Broken Myth towards the later game, whereas Wong on Glaive, you know, you have a strong early game, you have fantastic initiation as well as engage and disengage, but you don't really have much besides that, so he needs items to be very effective towards the later game. So they're giving him all of that farm for those items.
All right, here we go. Gauntlet as well as the ult coming down for Fortress, and here comes Ken's ult as well. Susu taking most of the damage, but she's able to escape with that tankiness. Down goes Ken, and down
Lolly.
goes Wong, though. Yeah, Lolly's going for these damages. Zarks is very, very low, and there's going to be the first ace for CNL, so they're hanging in there. A great defensive engage.
Yeah, that was really fantastic. They keep the fight going for a very long time, and the other portion of that was taking out Wong early. Lolly's staying alive. He's got a ton of lifesteal. Wong does as well, but not quite the same amount. You know, he's got it on his ult, but that's about it. Whereas Lolly can continue doing those A's, continue jumping, and that's pretty much all he needs. He's got a lot of other sustained items on Arden as well as himself with that Fountain of Renewal. And if he can stay alive longer than Wong, that's really what's going to be important as we reach, you know, minute 15, minute 20, and beyond.
That fight in itself, basically, it does nothing for CNL other than basically prove to us that they can win a fight, because they weren't able to get any objectives off that. They got a turret, but at the same time, MusTang got another gold payout, so that was equivalent. And that was all they got. Now the Kraken is up. They can't do anything about that. I mean, yeah, obviously, it was a good fight, but I feel like it just does nothing but prove that they can win fights. They need to identify the Kraken is being taken. If they could steal it, it would be a huge opportunity. Here we go, Lolly leading the charge. His ult's on for 4 more seconds. Ken dropping down, or no, actually it's Zarks that drops on his ult first. Doesn't hit very many, but Lolly is eating way too much damage. Fountain of Renewal trying to keep him alive. And where is the ult? It's already used. There it is, the gauntlet. It's not gonna be enough.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Wong getting very, very low, but Leo out in the front, eating so much damage. Ken himself can't possibly take down everyone. He goes down.
And now it's going to be a Kraken and an ace. And here we go. It looks like we may have a 3-way tiebreaker. This could be the game-winning push for MusTang. Coming in now to take out the external turret of the Vein Crystal.
It's not over just yet. You know, the death timers are still relatively low compared to as if it were 20 minutes, 22 minutes, but this is still a very, very strong push.
Now, Lolly is up, Ken is up, and Leo is up. Can they make a miracle happen? Now is the time. Ken dropping down his ult is overdriven, so maybe he could actually get a second one off if this fight goes long enough. The second turret is nearly destroyed by the Kraken here. Lolly at the front doing a lot of extra damage. They're going to target the Kraken to ensure that they stay alive, and very smartly MusTang disengages. So the game will go on. It's still a massive advantage here to MusTang, and nothing remains but the Vein Crystal.
They've got a Vein Crystal and a Dream, man. That's all they've got here, and what exactly are they going to do to come back in this one? They have so many turrets are left over for MusTang. They've got 4 left and the Vein Crystal. You can see for MusTang they're buying all of the infusions in the world, and they're preparing for that game-ending push. CNL cannot make a mistake here. They cannot get caught.
Uh-oh, down goes Ken. Ken is the one who's stunned, which is a big problem. He does get shielded, but we're gonna have a big ult here for both Skies. Very, very low now is Susu, and they're actually targeting her, but she's so tanky, she keeps surviving, but down she goes. This could be the fight that CNL needs. We're seeing Lolly get very low, but another Fountain of Renewal keeps them alive. Zarks is going to be the next to fall, and now all they need to do is stay alive versus Wong, but he does so much damage. He gets a double kill, and he might be able to chase down Leo. Looks like he's going to let him go. But
that's
just,
that breaking
he's
point
so
again.
fed, man.
That's the breaking point, you know, it just goes long enough, and you have the glaive all of a sudden chunking you.
Can Leo even defend the Vein Crystal? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, he's gonna have to try to delay somehow. He needs to delay for 12 seconds.
I don't think he can. The shield does help, but Long is doing so much damage. He's actually just gonna fight Leo. Instead, Leo gets pushed away. 3 seconds left for Lolly, and the Crystal's now down to half health.
It's possible. It's possible to stop him.
Okay, here we go. Down go the Wolves, and he's just targeting down the Crystal, and he doesn't get targeted down. There's Ken's ult as well, and he gets stunned. And he gets killed. The Crystal survives. The shield is regenning. The hopes are alive for CNL to win this without forcing a 3-way tie. What an insane game this is proving to be. And now Wong is down for 26 more seconds. No big objectives just yet for CNL to take.
Kraken's got to respawn very soon, though. It's a possibility. I think even more so than that. No, that's the minion mine. But they can get at least one turret here and maybe even force a fight, if they can pick off someone, that could be, the snowball that gets rolling here for CNL.
All right, yep, Ken's ult is up, the gauntlet up in 3 seconds, 7 seconds left for Fortresses. Good control here by Zarks to try to slow this down. Down goes the turret, but Wong is back up. There's the gauntlet, good Crucible to stop that stun. And Wally is at the front taking way too much damage, they're gonna have to disengage. And remember, if it's a 3v3 fight, they can just ignore the heroes and simply target the Vein Crystal. They need to slow this push down somehow, but I don't know how they're gonna do that.
It's definitely going to be extremely hard here. The cooldown on Sky's ultimate is very low, so the one, Ken's going to be caught out here.
Ken is going to get caught out here. He's trying to put off as much damage as he can, but that is probably going to be game. He goes down. There's no way 2v3 that they can stop the Crystal. Looks like they're just going to go for the Kraken instead to add injury to insult, because there's no way that can be stopped either. And the Kraken, if they just simply go, home and sell all their items, the Kraken will still win the game at this point, especially without Ken's damage. He's 25 seconds away from respawning. I guess, it's not that long of a death timer at 20 minutes into the game. It feels like this game was longer, but I just don't think they can stop this. There's no way.
It's like MusTang needs to run into the fountain or something. That's about all they can do. And it looks like MusTang's going to take this one against all odds. Was able to 2-0 CNL somehow, some way, and we will have that 3-way tiebreaker.
That we will. The Crystal is targeted, and this time down it will go. Victory to MusTang, 2-0. The 3-way tie is what we're gonna have, guys. It will be decided in tiebreakers. So, it's definitely going to be an exciting finish to the evening. We don't know yet. We don't have an update on exactly how those tiebreakers are going to work out, but it looks like MusTang will verse CNL again. That's going to be the next match that we have coming up next. We're going to take a look at our group results first.
Yeah, obviously, as we said before, 3 teams are tied at 6 points, and they've all kind of beaten each other in a cycle. CNL, they've beaten Delta, Delta's beaten MusTang, but then, of course, MusTang was able to defeat CNL. So no one is the clear victor here for first place. So, as you said before, it looks like MusTang is going to face off against CNL once again to get more of a deciding factor here. We do have a bit of a replay going on.
Yeah, well, this replay is going to make me really sad, just simply because this was a very rough series for CNL, and they simply did not play their best. MusTang is playing way harder than they played before. Again, Susu and her teammates are basically just controlling the game. Ken is not able to get that massive lead, get that massive farm, and show us that sky that he showed us before. And this is actually a replay of game 1.
Yeah, funnily enough. But yeah, I want to show the domination of MusTang all the way through and how they were actually able to come back in these games. Yeah. Come ahead, rather. They weren't really ever behind in any of these games either. They showed that they were the dominant team against CNL.
So I think we're probably going to have, well, I would have thought we were going to have a break, but because these are the same teams that are fighting each other again, we might not have one because they're already set up, and this tiebreaker would make everyone behind schedule. So we are going to have CNN versus MusTang next. I just don't know if there will be a break beforehand or not, but we'll get some sort of update on that very soon after the replay does in fact finish. Basically, we just have to wait to find out what is going to be happening. I would expect that. I
would expect it would be like maybe best of ones all around. And
yeah, that's
see
how
if
it
anyone
should work.
Can get a 2-0, right?
Yeah, that's how it should work. But again, I'm not familiar with the exact format, so I can't tell you guys for certain.
It's also an interesting point as well because we only need 2 winners, so it needs to be one person, or rather one team who's going to be the loser instead of like 2, well, 1 winner rather.
That's right. So anyways, guys, we are going to take a short break as it turns out, so we'll come back and let you guys know exactly what's happening after that break.